friends, and welcome back to a very exciting episode of Coffee and Wrestling, a wrestling podcast, as this is our first episode in a month.
It's been a little bit.
It's been a little bit.
Sorry for the absence. Had some things we were doing, but we're back.
We're back, and hey, I gotta be that wife. Congrats to my husband for graduating college.
Yay, me.
Absolutely incredible feat to be able to do. Full-time job, be a husband, a father. Pretty fucking cool. Congrats to him. We're going to keep it short and sweet.
That's
You're
me,
very
by the way.
welcome.
If you haven't figured it out, I'm the husband.
He's the husband.
I'm Mark. That's Jamie.
Just in case you forgot who we are, we're Mark and Jamie.
I don't remember how we used to do this, but I think we used to introduce ourselves.
Yep, I think we can do this. One great thing that has not changed, we're still looking at WWE and AEW. They're still both absolutely thriving. Things have been a little bit crazy since since WrestleMania.
Mania.
They've kind of died down. We did watch Backlash. Honestly enjoyed it. Wasn't one of my favorites. I don't think it was really a favorite of anybody's, really. Even Dynasty, AEW Dynasty was a great pay-per-view, but I think
just felt
we're
like
just
the
on
cannon
the
fodder after the celebration of everything that it was.
Yeah, definitely.
Dynasty was good, but it definitely wasn't AEW's best product or pay-per-view product they've put out. But definitely was a good one. Same thing with WrestleMania. I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't a good WrestleMania, but it was probably one of the more historic WrestleManias strictly for the storyline aspect, but definitely not in the matchmaking sense.
No.
But still entertaining nonetheless. You can go back and listen to our 2 reaction episodes of both Night 1 and Night 2, including, I think there's a Ring of Honor pay-per-view stuck in one of them.
As well. Somehow we managed to pull off a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday full of episodes of just 3 different pay-per-views. So much to watch, so many great things. But again, it's just been absolutely thriving, and WWE has brought back a pay-per-view that I don't think they've done in a few years.
I don't remember the last time they did it, but
King and Queen of the Ring.
Yep, and it seems like it's probably a good move because every time they've had King of the Ring or the Queen of the Ring, they take that and use that in their storyline. You had King Shinsuke, you had King Xavier, you had, I could see his face. King Corbin.
Yeah, Zelina Vega was Queen of the Ring. So it's good with a storyline. It's good to kind of pull people that maybe don't have a lot going on to kind of put something in that perspective.
And you got to think, like I said, WrestleMania is like the head of the stories within within WWE.
Right. So you're starting fresh.
Again, all the stories start over again. So you need that tournament or that thing that develops extra storylines that can now be built on for the next season, because you take a look at it as like it's the new season. It's the start of something new. They got the WWE draft, so all the rosters are all kind of mixed up. WrestleMania is over. You've got your brand new champions. So now we start with the process all over again of creating storylines, creating rivalries, creating events that we can come back to in 6 months and go, well, wait a minute, when you did that, that's why I'm attacking you now.
Exactly.
So we've now hit that point where we're rebuilding all of our storylines, and it's going to get fairly exciting because this is where you get to test the waters. This is where you get to take, your superstars that have been feuding and separate them and put them into feuds with other individuals, i.e. you right now have Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are the women's tag team champions.
Correct.
Both of them in their own regard, in their own individual companies, doing an amazing job as a single star. Now we're seeing them as a tag team, which is kind of out of left field.
For sure.
Sort of, kind of. I thought they were going to be more of a rival kind of thing when
I was hoping the same, honestly.
I kind of like the idea of this happening.
Sure.
So it's the season of new beginnings between both WWE and honestly AEW as well, because they just had Swerve win the World Championship. A lot of different belts are changing. So really exciting. Like you said, both WWE, AEW, even TNA, NJPW, everybody's
things are getting shaken up.
Professional wrestling is just, it's really good to be a professional wrestling fan right now.
It really is. And we're in a time right now where there is no Roman Reigns. They didn't even get drafted. Paul Heyman didn't even get Roman into the draft.
That right there. There's your storyline seed right there. As far as I can tell, it doesn't seem like Roman really made the call that he didn't want to be drafted.
It sounded like Paul
made
called
that
it
call
for him. Yeah,
and then we've got more Bloodline storyline. So that right there, we just got a whole bunch of new stuff coming up. So it's really exciting. This week we saw the beginning of the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring tournament, which saw a bunch of superstars going up against each other.
Ton of matches.
It looks like give or take about 7 matches per show. It was actually kind of confusing because they showed the bracket one time, and then they haven't shown like an updated bracket really since Gunther won. So it's been difficult to kind of keep track of, so bear with us if we get some things confused. I'm not going to go over everybody that wrestled anybody, but as of right now, this coming up Raw, we have Jey Uso will be taking on Ilya Dragunov, who had a hell of a match
that's gonna be a great
with
match.
Ricochet.
Yes.
I think it went like a good 30, 45 minutes. I don't know if the entire like match time was that long, but the segment time they had was just beyond what you would have thought for two.
I didn't think it was going to go that long.
Just came from NXT,
right.
And somebody who has not really been pushed as much as they
right.
should. They had a great match.
Yep.
Both men looked great.
They really did.
Sucks to see Ricochet take the loss, but this is an amazing opportunity for Dragunov to, really showcase how good he is in the ring.
Right.
And honestly, I think it's going to end up building up to him versus Gunther.
I mean, you think this 1000% better come down to that. I mean, if you've seen anything with Gunther, who was Walter at the time, having his rivalry against Ilya Dragunov in NXT UK, holy shit! Like that is
and that was when
good.
It was COVID time, so there wasn't really, there wasn't any fans.
Didn't need it.
No. They put on a hell of a match, but
they've had quite a few matches against each other, so that's going to be great.
That's if Gunther wins between the winner of Kofi Kingston and Rey Mysterio, which is actually happening probably right about now.
Yes, as we record.
It's a WWE Super Show. It'll be happening in Macon, Georgia. It'll be Rey Mysterio and Kofi Kingston will be taking on
Too
each
bad
other.
We don't get to see that.
I know. I saw some facts on it that it's been 16 years since these two have faced each other.
Wow, it's probably going to be a great match.
And they're doing it on a house show. And then they also have Shayna Baszler. She was supposed to take on Zelina Vega. However, she has come up injured.
That stinks.
So Shayna will be taking on Maxine Dupree. I think we're going to all see the writing on the wall unless they're going to pull some
rip
BS.
Maxine.
Maxine's going to lose at the Super Show, and Shayna will end up taking on Io Sky on
that should be good.
Raw this week.
That should
as
be really
well
good.
as that, Zoe Stark will be taking on Lyra Valkyria. So a lot of NXT and younger talent making their appearances in the King of the Ring and the Queen
Why
of the
not?
Ring
They've got nothing to lose if they do lose,
Right. On the SmackDown side, we have Nia Jax will be taking on Jade Cargill, who won
I'm actually
her
looking
singles
forward
match,
to this one.
Right, I thought it was pretty good. And plus, we had talked about it earlier. She's the one half of the tag team champions, and her tag team partner came out directly afterwards.
I love that.
She'll be taking on Tiffany Stratton this week.
Oh, that's gonna be a banger.
Up and coming young NXT talent.
And who did Bianca beat this week?
You had to ask me that, didn't you? She ended up taking on Candice LeRae.
That wasn't bad.
No, it was not bad at all.
Different side of Candice LeRae, which I'm enjoying.
I mean, the heel side's good. Indie. It's gaining a little bit of steam. I think people are starting to look at her with a little bit of despise, so it kind of gives some fuel to Candice LeRae.
Yes.
Hopefully they can build a little bit on that because it's just been kind of stale since she's been moved up to the main roster, and that might just be my opinion. I have a Candice LeRae t-shirt, but it just feels like what she's been doing in the main roster hasn't been the greatest. Now, interesting, you and I have briefly talked about this, but there is a possibility that we might see Jade Cargill face off against Bianca Belair.
I kind of hope so. Like, that's where it's going. Yeah, they both advance to that.
It doesn't feel like something WWE would traditionally do.
Especially this quickly?
Well, I mean, yeah, especially with them having the titles. I think that's the bigger point here is they don't normally want to see two allied champions go facing off against one another, but with this being a new WWE, a new kind of like look to it, I'm wondering if maybe they might put that out there. So
Hunter might think this is something different. Like, they're not going to expect them to go against each other like this.
Yeah, and I
shake
think
hands in the middle of the ring.
I 100% do not expect this to happen. I don't expect Bianca and Jade Cargill to have to face each other.
It's possible, though.
But yeah, I mean, honest to God, I think Tiffany Stratton going over.
I think she needs to win the whole thing.
I think Nia Jax can win the whole thing.
You really do?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
it would be good. Again, it's a good storyline to kind of push onto somebody that doesn't have anything going on.
Right.
Nia can only be so mad at Becky for so long.
Right.
Even though she broke Becky's nose.
Right.
So that could work. But I think it would be really fun. Like, it's Tiffy time. It's Queen time. She can kind of put that into her storyline. She's got like the different outfits all the time. So she can kind of rock like a Queen's...
Oh, she'd look great with the crown on her head.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it would work with her character really well. People
Honestly,
really love her.
All 4 of these women would fit perfectly. And I mean, that's not saying anything about the other 4 on the Raw side. Zoe, Lyra, Io, and either Dupree or Baszler. I think it's Shayna Baszler. But I like, honest to God, with the SmackDown Women's Queen of the Ring bracket, you could put this on any 4 of them.
Oh,
Nia Jax
absolutely.
would do great with it. Tiffany Stratton, like you said, would be a perfect fit for it. Jade Cargill's got the swagger with it, and then Bianca's got the legacy with it. I mean, all 4 of them would look good. It's just interesting because you've got 2 champions.
Right.
One of them has to lose. At least one of them has to lose. Which I could see them facing against each other, losing to one another.
Right.
And then the next round losing to whoever ends up winning it.
Exactly.
It's an interesting,
fun storyline between them. I'm more
excited about the Queen of the Ring than I am the King of the Ring, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because I don't really know who I can see it benefiting on the opposite side, except for maybe Ilya Dragunov. If he can beat Gunther, people would be like, wait, it took 666 days before anybody could beat Gunther. And it took Sami Zayn,
Ilya just rolls in and just rules house the first match they have.
The first match they have, exactly. And they could play into the storyline of that beautifully since it's their own company.
Oh, yeah.
And have that storytelling of... shout out to Mark for shaking his cup like a basic bitch, drinking the
most amazing sound in the world.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
Hey, it's hot in Florida. Coffee hits harder when it's really cold and covered in ice and a lot of sugar and a lot of cream.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, if they gave Isla the King of the Ring status, that he just has that ability to talk over Gunther, obviously doesn't have any type of a belt. This is a good push for 2 people that, I mean, really, if I say Tiffany and Dragunov are going to win this, that's a huge push for 2 NXT people that just got drafted
we haven't even talked
recently.
We haven't even talked about the men's SmackDown side.
Yeah, who do you got on that side?
You got LA Knight, Tama Tonga, and RKO, and Carmelo Hayes. All 4 of them will be going against each other. And
LA Knight getting squashed already again.
You think he's going to get squashed by Tama Tonga?
You think Tama Tonga's just going to come in here? We're talking about the next... Listen, we're talking about the next generation of the bloodline. Tama Tonga has had, 1 match? Did he have 2?
I don't even know.
And he's going to lose?
I mean, look at LA Knight. His entire career in the WWE main roster has been losing.
Yeah, and he's going to lose again to Tama Tonga.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a shame. He came in, he finds a little attraction, and then they just pull the rug out from underneath him.
They really do, and he has to build up all over again.
You've got enough momentum that it feels good when you get it taken out from underneath him.
Oh, it sucks.
So, I mean, I don't know if Tama Tonga is going to beat LA Knight. I don't know if LA Knight's going to beat Tama Tonga. I think RKO is going to win it all.
I do too.
Not the King of the Ring, but I think RKO is going to win the SmackDown side.
He might win the whole thing. I mean, Randy Orton came back with like this crazy, like, because we all thought he was going to really retire. Like, that really was it. I think when he came back, everybody was like, I literally can't believe this is happening. Like, we didn't think this was ever going to happen. Yeah. So for him to come back now, I think people just love him more than they ever have. So for him to have that status, of course, who better than Randy Orton to walk around backstage talking about how he's the king?
Yeah.
He would love that.
I don't think he's going to walk away with the whole thing, though.
Who do you think's going to win the whole thing, then?
Honestly,
or who do you want to win the whole thing?
Honestly, the men's, if I had to pick who do I want to, I want Jey Uso to win.
Okay.
Who do I think's going to win?
That's different?
I think Dragunov.
Okay.
Either Dragunov or Gunther, but I think Dragunov is going to end up taking it.
Yeah.
I think it would be a good move, but knowing WWE, more than likely Gunther will end up winning.
Okay.
Because he's fresh off the Intercontinental Champion, and it would just give him the capability to still be able to strut and brag and do that until the next championship, i.e. Cody Rhodes' belt.
Right. Ooh, fun.
I feel like in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, I think it would make sense to drop it to somebody like Gunther.
Oh, agreed.
Have him fight all the way up that entire time, do rivalry after rivalry. I don't know why I have such a hard time saying that word. And then he finally challenges Cody Rhodes, and, you see it at Mania.
Okay.
And Gunther wins.
I love it. Now, before we step away from this whole King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring tournament, I want to say one thing that I thought was really fun. Baron Corbin has spent, I don't even know, it feels like a while down in NXT. And now that Carmelo Hayes has come up, the two of them had their match this week. And that was actually one of my favorites out of all the matches that they had.
Right.
I really actually enjoyed that because those two have some storyline with them both kind of like coming back to the main roster at the same time. I know they faced in a tournament before, but I really did like what they're doing with that. And I hope, I don't know, I've always had this like hope that Baron Corbin can get back over again because I actually really like Baron Corbin.
Well, he's
and
obviously...
I think his promos have gotten better since he's gone into NXT. I think it's a good opportunity, like Drew McIntyre when he had to go back through all this NXT and going to Impact and all of that. I think it's a good thing for some people to have that push.
Right.
And I think it's actually been a really good push for Baron. I think this is going to be a good opportunity, even though he didn't win.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I mean, WWE has realized his value, that maybe he isn't right now the best for, the main roster, but he can definitely go back to NXT and be a big enough star that he can put over the other talent. He can
and improve himself
give them
too.
The losses that they need to give them the momentum to get the wins they need.
Right.
Carmelo Hayes, and I think WWE just looked at him and said, "Okay, right now he's not working on the main roster. However, we do know that if we drop him back to the minor leagues, that he's going to be a big star in a small pond."
Oh, and look at him and Braun.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Braun were tag team champions, which was
same idea.
Pretty good. I didn't really get to watch a lot of it, but the highlights and stuff that you see, it seemed like he only helped Braun.
Right. You ride those the main roster coattails with Baron Corbin. You give him that the validity that he can hang with a main roster star. And then, I mean, look at him now. They've moved him up to the main roster.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll eventually move Baron Corbin back to the main roster, or they'll just end up cutting him like they do everybody else.
Hopefully not.
there was a lot of good matches this week. I didn't want to go into every single one of them just because there were so many. But definitely the RKO and AJ match, I mean, you're not going to have a bad match with those two guys.
No.
Like we were talking about earlier, Ilya and Ricochet, and then as well as Gunther and Sheamus.
I mean, we've seen it before, but still.
Yeah, they had that triple threat match for the Intercontinental at whatever pay-per-view it is. I'm blanking.
Yeah, I want to say Crown Jewel. I don't know if that's correct.
But it was a banger. It was a banger. So really good matches this week. It was really nice seeing that we had. I think there's like I said, I think there's about 7 matches each per show. So that's for 7 for Raw, 7 for SmackDown. Which is a lot of wrestling for WWE.
It was, but it felt like they really thought about who was going against who. Like, they didn't just pull names out of a hat and they're like, yep, that's who's facing each other. Like, when they picked the people,
that I wanted to watch each one of them.
Yeah, it really was. I was looking forward to turning on Raw this week, and so I know this is going to be the same thing this coming week.
After I got done watching Raw, I was excited to watch SmackDown because now it was like, okay, I know what one half of the field looks like.
Exactly.
What's the other half going to look like? Because the matchups are... They made a buzz in my head. I was looking at them like, damn, this is kind of a cool. Even the women's, they really got me to where I was like, I would like to see all of these matches. Even the which one was it? The Lyra Valkyrie and Dakota Kai. Like, I'm not a big fan of Dakota Kai, and I don't know anything about Lyra or Valkyria. Sorry.
But maybe that's a good opportunity,
at the same time, I saw everything else. I saw the way that everything else was done match-wise, and I was like, okay, obviously somebody thought of this. So it got me excited for this, and now I'm invested in the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring. And that's after not watching, WWE for probably 2 straight weeks. I completely missed like 2 weeks of WWE programming, and AEW for that matter. So like to get back into it and instantly be like, damn, this is real good. That's awesome.
Got you sitting on the edge of your seat waiting for the next one, waiting to see what the main event is going to, or what the events are going to be at the pay-per-view that's going to be coming up.
King and Queen of the Ring.
Oddly enough, I'm still very confused, and I think WWE kind of missed the ball on this one. Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes is going to be happening. I'm not really sure if they just didn't have enough time with that one and just kind of threw it together. Kind of feels a little bit sloppy, unfortunately.
My honest opinion, it seems like Logan Paul's deal with WWE is around the corner.
Coming to a head? Okay.
And maybe they just wanted to give him the big match, big championship match. I mean, I don't think he's going to win. There's no way the hell he's going to win
That would be awful. Could you imagine?
Oh my God.
People would be like, really,
but
Hunter?
I think they're really leaning into his star power, and they're giving him the championship match that they probably promised him.
I just
knowing
can't.
damn well he wasn't going to win. But
I can't do the Prime thing again this soon with the suit and the mystery guy on the inside.
I've been able to get rid of that. Like, that's just part of his gimmick. It's like the bloodline. The bloodline's going to come out into whether it's a no DQ match or not.
Yeah.
What bothers me though is the whole Universal Champion or Undisputed or whatever Cody Rhodes has got now. The U.S. champion is getting a shot at another belt, and I just
right. What did he do?
I don't ever want to be like, oh, you can't have champion versus champion. I don't like having that old school mindset, but this just doesn't. It didn't make a lot of sense other than Logan Paul just likes to talk shit and wants everything,
right?
Which I feel like you could have done better by having him eventually drop the United States belt. Mm-hmm. That way, it's at least a little bit believable that he's going to win the big belt.
Exactly, because it feels like there's just absolutely no chance for it.
And then what does Cody Rhodes get out of this? You know what I mean? I guess he gets to shut up the loudmouth.
Yeah.
But he runs the risk of losing his championship. I don't see where he gains anything in this aspect. He doesn't.
That's a good point.
I guess you could say it as, he's defending his title like he's supposed to because he said he's always going to defend his title, but
you could have put 100 other people in that position, and it would have felt better than just Logan Paul being like, "Hey,
I just feel like
I'm the next challenger."
It could have been built up a little bit better. You could, like I said, have him drop the belt, go away for like a month, and then come back and just be an absolute menace to Cody Rhodes. And
people
Cody
are like,
Rhodes
wow,
is
I can't believe this.
You want your belt shot? You come in here in the WWE and you make fun of the WWE universe, and you think that you deserve all this stuff. Well, I'll give you what you deserve at this pay-per-view. I'll give you the shot,
right?
And I'll prove to you and everybody that you're just a flash in the pan and yada yada.
Yeah, that's not what we're getting.
No, we just got. I don't know what we got.
I don't know what we're getting.
It won't be a bad match. I mean, again, Logan Paul has impressed a lot of people in his capabilities of being in the squared circle.
Sure,
so
but
it's not going to be a bad match.
Understanding that's the main event.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's not exciting.
But it's also Saudi too. It's also a big name in a big place. They're trying to develop a market.
Yeah,
and you have a social media star with that big of a following.
But hold on, this may be a crazy thought here. Why wouldn't you have Logan defend his own belt instead of facing Cody for his?
Because Logan Paul has millions of followers, and if those millions of followers knows he's going after the biggest prize in a company that's near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, then they're going to tune in a lot more than if he was just defending it against some random wrestler that nobody really knows, like Kevin Owens. Not nobody, but that isn't a wrestling fan doesn't know.
Cheap.
It's a money grab. 100%. It feels like a money grab, but it is what
kind of feels gross.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're going to Saudi Arabia. It feels gross.
It's already tainted. Yeah, of course.
Not that. Oh God, not that there's anything wrong with Saudi Arabia.
No.
There's been a lot of controversy with certain countries out there in the way that they treat individuals. And it's never a good scene. It's very controversial.
It's very, very, very controversial.
I get it. So. It's a very big business move. It's a lot of money to be made in a business sense. It makes sense to go to a market that with that big of a reach and that much money.
Yeah, there's a bigger idea.
There's a bigger picture. Yeah,
there's a 100%. Market of the entire world trying to watch this production.
Doesn't make it morally correct, but there's a bigger picture.
No.
Moving on.
Moving right along.
We also, in the same pay-per-view we will also be seeing Becky Lynch will be taking on Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan has been on her revenge tour. She ended up taking out Mommy, and Becky Lynch ended up winning the belt after it was vacated.
That's a little bit weak too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
not shitting on WWE because I am enjoying the product, but
I don't think they had much of a choice.
Yeah,
because
I mean, Becky can do it. You can slap a belt on her and be like, "Hey, here's a mic, cut a promo." Right. She'll come out and do something.
I mean, do you think that it seems like the plan was going to be Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the belt?
Yeah.
Do you think that they were planning on maybe giving the belt to Liv Morgan?
Oh dear God, no.
Rhea? No. Okay.
No.
So do you think she's going to do? Okay, then let's think of it this way. Seeing as how Rhea Ripley is out of the picture at this point, plans have changed. Becky Lynch now has the belt.
Yeah.
Is this a good opportunity for Liv Morgan to take the belt off of Becky Lynch?
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for Liv.
No, I know it's obviously a good opportunity for Liv. Not
of course.
I understand that.
It's great for Liv. Is it great for us?
Obviously, Becky Lynch was the placeholder that they sat in the meeting after Rhea Ripley showed up and said, hey, I can't wrestle.
It's tried and true.
So do you think, obviously giving it to Liv Morgan would completely defeat the purpose of her quote-unquote revenge tour and attacking Rhea Ripley? It would make the championship feel cheap.
Of course.
So, again,
would this. So would giving her the belt. That would be so cheap. That'd be like, okay, that was your revenge tour? What did you do?
She took her out, and you think of that. She ended up taking her out.
Yeah, to get the belt.
She ends up injuring her, makes her vacate the title. Somebody else ends up winning it, and she swoops in and gets the belt.
That's so lame.
How is that lame?
Because you didn't beat Rhea for it.
Well, of
but
course
it gives
not.
Rhea heat when she comes
that's
back.
The revenge tour.
I get it.
It's not fair.
Lame.
Like, she didn't beat her a fair one-on-one. If bad guys beat people one-on-one, they wouldn't be bad guys.
Yeah.
They're gonna show up with the ultra large robot to squash the superhero, and the superhero is gonna have to come out from underneath the big robot.
People gotta die. I get it.
People gotta die.
Me personally, I love and I'm very happy that a lot of people are really, really big Liv Morgan fans, and here I am. I'm not trying to shit on anybody. I'm really just not the biggest Liv Morgan fan.
And I'm not either. Personally, I'm not.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a good opportunity to give the belt to Liv Morgan because she is a high commodity in WWE.
There's not really a lot of heels with belts right now, too.
And
I think Damian is supposed to be heel, but
that would be a perfect women's heel. What better than winning that championship in the skeeviest ways and then defending it in the skeeviest ways, i.e. Logan Paul?
Well, and then you come out there every week and you say, I did this, and you explain that whole thing like you said against Rhea.
I injured Rhea Ripley. I got Becky
this belt.
Lynch. It's all because of me.
I'm banging Dominic because we know it's going that way. She had a picture. She had she showed up to whatever. I don't remember what show she's on. No, whatever show she's on, and she had a little bit of a glimpse of a purple bandana hanging out of her pocket.
Nice.
As a symbol of she's taking Dom with her. I'm fully convinced.
If she got pulled over here in our hometown, she'd be asked if she was in a gang.
Yeah, I'm fully convinced that's the way that this is going. Is that Liv Morgan's also going to be taking Dom with her too, so that when Rhea comes back, there's going to be a huge storyline with that.
So Dom and Mommy are Dunzo?
I think, honestly, that's a good thing.
I feel like they were hinting towards that to begin with because it seemed like she was a little bit more annoyed with him every so often.
Yeah, which would be perfect because it's a great way to just cut ties with that and have Rhea be on her own because she doesn't need the Judgment Day. Let's be real here.
The Judgment Day needs her.
They need her.
Oh, yeah, because she's the only one that keeps order in that place.
Exactly.
Damien's on his way out, keeps yelling at everybody.
Right.
JD is just got too big of a head.
Yeah, exactly.
Dom,
but float away.
I don't know what he does in the Judgment Day. And
he's broken.
Finn Balor just needs something. I don't want to say something new. I'm not. I like Finn Balor, but I don't know.
Finn Balor can do
it. Great.
I was gonna say Finn Balor can do it on his own.
A singles run would be great for him.
He's a fantastic singles wrestler. It's not like he needs to be in the Judgment Day either. So no. I mean, yeah, I think you're 100% right. This could go to Liv Morgan, at least storyline. At least it kind of makes sense for everything.
Last up on the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring matches that we have announced so far is a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship between Sami Zayn, Bronson Reed, and Chad Gable. A little bit of history between all three of them.
Yeah.
Kind of weird
I love
the
all
way
three.
This all kind of got put together. Obviously, Sami Zayn and Chad Gable have the history with the Intercontinental Championship.
Sure.
Chad Gable trying to win the belt.
Right.
Sami Zayn beating him, and then he ends up turning on Sami Zayn after yada, yada, yada. Bronson Reed being the, I guess, third wheel in this aspect that has constantly been going after the Intercontinental Championship ever since Gunther has had it, has had interactions with both Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. I feel like this one's a little bit clunky put together.
A little bit thrown together, yeah.
I'm not mad at the match. I think
it's
going to be a great match.
It is.
But it's just, I don't know. Bronson Reed, with him putting in there, I would have just been so much happier with just a straight Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, one-on-one, ahead of, like, just bring it to a head and call it a day.
Only thing I can think here is that they didn't want to give either of them the loss, and they have Bronson Reed in there to take the loss so that they can continue the run between the two of them.
Yeah,
perhaps at a bigger time, bigger show, keep Chad being even more of a heel this entire time, which is interesting, though. Have you noticed that when he's being hard on Otis and Maxine, they seem to do better?
I have not noticed that, no.
He was really kind of pulling on them off to the side, saying that you're not good enough, you're not doing well. Watch Maxine after she gets the criticism from Chad Gable.
Okay.
And tell me she doesn't actually put on a physically better performance that I'll have to go back and actually watch that. Yeah. Go back and definitely watch that. So, that's the only thing I can think is they don't want Chad to take the loss.
Right.
Obviously, they don't want Sammy to give up the belt that he worked so hard to get.
Of course.
So you just throw in somebody like Bronson Reed, who, again, like you're saying with a lot of other people, is just going to be the cannon fodder.
I really hope not, though. I really hope not, because Bronson Reed has taken that loss numerous times.
I know, and I love Bronson.
The Intercontinental Championship is we talked about it when Gunther lost, that it's been elevated so high now that you have to keep the stories like high impact. You have to keep everything moving. And this one, I hope they don't do that with Bronson Reed. I hope it doesn't play out like that, strictly because I don't want it to kind of stifle it. It just feels like if that's the case, they just put him in there strictly to take the L. I get it, but I wish there would be a better way to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't think giving Chad Gable the loss is the worst thing you could do. And if that was the case, then don't put Chad Gable in the match.
Right.
Have him make Sammy get the loss, or I don't even know. Not that Sammy needs to take the loss.
There's different ways to do it. So
you know what I mean? Like,
gotta hope that there's a long story here. That
I hope so. I hope that's what this is. I hope this isn't an ends to a means just because they need it to be an ends to a means.
Mm-hmm. Interesting pay-per-view.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be like a 4 or 5 match night, and I don't even know. It's going to be definitely an interesting one. It's in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a long time until then. We've still got the end of the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring tournament. So that'll be interesting. Maybe we'll see a 6th match added on, but I highly doubt that. Usually these international ones are only 5-match shows. But they definitely, one nice thing about these international shows is they definitely go all out when they go out there.
The production value,
who they're putting on the card is definitely high caliber individuals. So you're definitely going to see an exciting bunch of matches. It's just going to be an interesting one for storytelling purposes.
All right, so we're going to switch things up, move over to All Elite Wrestling. Everything is going a little bit chaotic over there, as well as they're preparing for a pay-per-view that's looking, about 2 to 3 weeks away as well. So a lot of these matches seem a little bit rushed in that perspective as well. You're going to have a great match when you say something like Swerve Strickland is going to be facing Christian Cage. Like, it's going to be really good, and that's what they set up this week on Dynamite. I'm super excited for it. There's a little bit of storyline between the two of them as far as All In last year.
They were a tag team.
Yep, they were a tag team and ended up losing. Totally understandable. One thing that I actually really loved was the Mogul Embassy betrayed Swerve Strickland. Brian Cage, Toa Leona,
was definitely
Bishop Khan.
Was definitely didn't expect that moment.
But needed. I feel like it was important, and I thought it was weird that Swerve didn't come out with Prince Nana. That was like the first indication of something weird is coming up, like something weird is happening.
Right.
But
they still haven't explained why he didn't come out with him.
No. I think it put it in people's minds as to like what actually is going to happen. Is Prince Nana going to be with him?
Right.
Is Swerve, fully face at this point? And obviously he is. And we know now that after Brian Cage spoke that Prince Nana more than likely is going to be staying with Swerve in that perspective of the two of them being face, which is crazy. Never would have thought it would have come that route.
Right.
But I loved it because it's setting up Brian Cage versus Swerve Strickland, which I think is going to be an absolute banger.
That's going to be an amazing match.
Like, nobody makes you look better in a match than Brian Cage. Like, Brian Cage is the best at that.
Swerve's already very talented as he is. And
for sure.
You add the strength of somebody like Brian Cage,
right.
who can
it's unparalleled.
Take an individual who does feats through the air already and launch him. So it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be really good.
It's going to be fun.
Swerve's going to make Brian look great, like you said, because he's going to be able to lift him and have the strength advantage. Absolutely.
But it's not like Brian Cage isn't agile himself. He's probably one of the most. He's probably one of the biggest dudes that is as agile as most guys that are half his size.
Yeah, he's able to jump over people, and it absolutely will blow your mind. But Brian's going to make Swerve look great, which is fantastic.
No
That's
way
setting
he's gonna
up for
win,
this
though.
match. Who, Brian?
There's no way Brian's going to win.
No, absolutely not. But Dynamite, has just set up so many great matches, this being one of them. Another great thing throughout this week of AEW wrestling was all things Adam Copeland. We've talked about it in the last couple of months. I think everything Adam Copeland's been doing with the TNT Championship has been great. He actually did.
Actually, I think everything he's been doing in AEW has been great.
I love it.
I know a lot of people have been critical over, he went from a Hall of Famer career in WWE to a T-shirt company like AEW, and
this is what he wanted to do.
I get what everybody says. He went from, probably a multi-million-dollar paycheck to maybe a single $1 million paycheck or dual $1 million.
He said he doesn't need the money.
I'm not saying he's not making a decent paycheck, but he's not making what he was making in WWE.
Right. He's doing better than us on this podcast.
I really think he has taken to the idea of I'm just having fun with the twilight years of my career.
Yeah, like having these matches I've never had before, these opponents I've never had before.
Right.
And he said on, of all people, Swerve Strickland's podcast, that every match that he does a move that he's never done in a match.
Right.
So he's like revolutionizing himself as a wrestler. How can you say that's a mistake?
Right, and
I love
enjoying what he's doing while he's doing it.
Yeah, and his opponents are fantastic. He's faced before, Brody King this week.
Yep.
What a memorable match between the two of them. And Brody, did he win? No. But Brody walked out a winner.
Out of him.
He walked out a winner, and he even said, Adam's never going to forget me. He's never going to forget this match that we had.
But now it's set up for a match at Double or Nothing that both, again, one of those moments came out that we were not expecting. It is let's see if I get this right, a steel caged barbed wire match.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is there more? I mean,
I got barbed wire steel cage.
This is a Tony Khan special where we're just adding, adjectives and verbs into this thing.
Cool. This is fun. Something
we're not
different.
setting it on fire. We're not hanging it from a skyscraper. We're not putting a time bomb on it. We're not electrifying it. I feel like it's coming.
Has not said anything as far as his answer or response. So he might say, we're going to have this in the depths of hell for all I know. I don't know. But I love it. Like, that's going to be a really good match. It's going to be fun. But, I was definitely...
Somebody is going to be trickling a little bit of blood.
A lot of blood. I was not expecting that match. But I was also not expecting Adam Copeland to act the way that he did after that match against Kyle O'Reilly.
Where he kind of gripped his arm a little bit and looked a little evil.
I love it because you don't see that side of Adam.
The one thing I did notice, and I don't know if this was just happenstance but I feel like when he wiped his hand on his against his lip, right after that moment of him grabbing Kyle O'Reilly's hand and not letting go, when the camera zoomed in, there was a little bit of blood trickling out of his mouth. And I know professional wrestlers, sometimes they bust their lips. Normally I would say it was just that. But if you look at it in a theatric way, he knew that substance was on his lip because he reached up and wiped it off with his hand so you couldn't see it anymore, almost like, oh God, don't look at that.
Right.
So I'm almost thinking
like that takes out the bad in me,
Well, I think it was more of like that was the bad coming out.
Right. That's what I felt
Black,
too.
He's got the mist, the stuff in his mouth, and I feel like this is like this is Adam Copeland's kind of like toe dipping into the evils of what Adam Copeland could be. And like I said, it's just a little like. Because you wouldn't know, you've had it. You had a little toothpaste on your lip. You don't know it's there,
right?
And you go all day and you look in the mirror. You're like, oh my God, what the fuck is on my lip?
Pat it a couple times.
You know what
lip,
I mean?
No big deal.
But if he intentionally has it there, it's like, oh shit, I don't want anybody to see this. Reaches up with his hand, which he does, and wipes it completely clean.
Kind of had a smirk on his face though too.
He did right before that, and that's what I mean. He has that smirk. He grabs his arm, and when he comes to, he like realizes there's something in his mouth, wipes his mouth, and is like, whoa, and then sneaks out of the ring like that was like
that didn't happen.
Exactly. So I think it wasn't just a bloody lip. I think that was storytelling. A little seed planted in there.
I like it.
Again, I get the criticism that people give Adam Copeland, but I have loved everything he has done. I have yet to find anything in AEW that he has not excelled at and made a good, impression.
Made the other guy look good.
And anybody who's giving the man criticism, oh, you are a world champion, this, that, and the other thing. He had a 20-year career in WWE, did practically everything, revolutionized.
He said, I did everything I could.
The tag team division, had the singles runs, had the rivalries. Yep. What else was he going to do?
Met his wife. Like,
he was
what
just
going to
be cannon fodder with a WWE Legends contract.
Exactly.
At least in
Nothing
AEW,
wrong with that.
He can now explore different options. He can have a barbed wire cage match.
Exactly.
He can have an I Quit match with Christian cage the way that they want to have it, as they're having hockey fights in the outside, beating the shit out of each other.
Exactly. He's doing it the way he wants to.
I didn't think I was going to like Adam Copeland in AEW, and
he's a riot.
At this point, I think we're almost at a year now of him being there, maybe a little bit more than a year. I lose track of time. I have been so impressed with what he's done.
I agree.
I don't think he's gone too much. I think the TNT Championship is perfect for him right now because it's a mid-card belt. He doesn't take away the World Championship from somebody.
Exactly.
But it gives an opportunity to somebody in AEW, an AEW homegrown that can take that belt, that takes it off of Adam Copeland / Edge and gives you that that legitimacy.
And that belt is elevated.
Oh, it already is.
You know what I mean? By having it be like this. Exactly. So it's not going to feel like a mid-card win when somebody takes that off of Adam, whoever it may be.
It's more than the championship. You won the championship from a wrestling legend.
Right.
But it's going to have to be a fair fight, or at least a super heel move. One of the two.
Yeah.
It's either a really good guy move or a really bad guy move. It's got to be one of the two.
So a lot of the matches that happened this week were just basically buffing the ratings. That's the one, I guess, downside of bringing the rating system back to AEW is that you have to just have a bunch of matches where it's like a clear-cut win, and it's like, why does Thunder Rosa come out here every week and wrestle?
Right.
Because they need her to move higher up in the ranking system, so it justifies it.
Right.
They've done that with Serena Deeb. I gotta admit, really not interested in in that rivalry either. And I think
Serena Deeb does nothing for me.
Really not super excited about the way that's going.
I'm glad that people enjoy her, and maybe it's just my own problem. I just don't see it. But she's obviously a big enough name that they've put her in the main event of Double or Nothing, or not the main event, but the world title match with Toni Storm.
Right, correct.
So there's got to be something good about her.
Yeah, there's got to be something, right? That's the
She's had a lot of really good matches. All of her top matches have been or at least on Cage Match, have been in AEW.
Yeah. So it's not horrible, but I just don't think it's the best it could be. One interesting match I thought that was really cool that they didn't put a lot of hype on this week in the women's division was Deonna Purrazzo versus Lady Frost.
That was a great match.
That match was absolutely phenomenal.
Lady
one of my
Frost
favorites
is
this
definitely
week.
one of those diamonds in the rough.
She's so good, and she's got that gymnastics background. She just makes it look so effortless.
She's just got to connect with the crowd. That's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest thing that goes over with wrestlers. She's somehow got to figure out a way to connect with the crowd.
Exactly. She doesn't look like that amateur wrestler, not that she is, that is nervous and doesn't know what to do. Like she's got the good poses. She's got the good smile. She just needs to be on TV a little bit more so people can, like you said, connect with her. But that was great. Another thing that I think was really good about this week, and I don't know if we always joke that Tony Khan's listening because we're like, there haven't been like fantastic, great matches on, AEW programming in a couple of weeks. Now, all of a sudden, Dynamite is like a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm so excited about that.
I got to pause you for 1 second.
Please, go.
We haven't had a moment to talk about this.
Yeah.
Fucking Young Bucks taking out Tony Khan with the Tony Khan driver and then the EVB trigger.
I don't know why people hated that either.
And then Jungle Boy slugging him in the stomach with a microphone. Absolutely.
I thought it was great.
Him wearing the neck brace at the fucking at the NFL draft.
Kudos.
What
a
the
sell.
hell? What, like, I don't want to see him.
His dad came out and was like,
it was so good. I don't want to see him in a ring. I don't want to see him wrestling, and he's already quoted that he's not going to like step in the ring.
Good, and he shouldn't.
Like, so good. The Young Bucks needed that heat. They don't even need that heat. It's so good to see the Young Bucks leaning into the BS that you hear online all the time.
I love it.
I love it. It's so good.
I love it. You say they're taking cheap
I'm
shots.
A mark for it.
They're just digging into
100%. It's all cheap shots.
And I think that's the biggest point overall about AEW this week is just the overall idea of the Young Bucks and everybody connected in storyline with them because there's so many things going on with the Young Bucks right now. But one of the overarching storylines is that Kenny Omega is out. He's dealing with legitimate injuries, not Tony Khan, obviously, but Tony Khan can't be there. Kenny Omega can't be there.
Tony Khan's got a legitimate injury.
Yeah. Kenny Omega can't be there. Tony can't be there. Somebody's got to be in charge. Nobody wants the Young Bucks to be in charge, but Kenny decides.
By the way, real quick, fuck you to the guy that thought my idea that a GM was going to be what Kenny Omega was going to announce.
I know. Come on.
Stop with that bullshit. That's such a Fed mindset. Screw you in that bullshit.
I know.
You know who you are.
on X.
Go ahead. Kenny Omega made an announcement this week.
Kenny Omega from the hospital bed made an announcement that for Double or Nothing, they are bringing back the legendary Anarchy in the arena match, and said basically later on you'll see who it's going to be. So you have the Elite, which is Jack Perry, Okada, and our EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. Make sure you say it correctly.
I was already on the tweet machine.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Disrespecting them.
Then you have them facing two of the Young Bucks' biggest rivals.
Oh, sorry.
The FTR.
Yep,
FTR, and then there ended up being two mystery opponents who were revealed to be
these
two would be working together. Like, Mark and I are sitting there trying to speculate. Ooh, I wonder if it's Motor City Machine Guns. I wonder if it's this
Still
person.
waiting for them.
I wonder if it's somebody from NJPW. I wonder who it's going to be. They really said, Kenny said this is going to be two people that are really defending AEW. It ended up being Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. So the idea
when Eddie came out, at first I was like, okay,
this makes sense, right?
This makes sense, but not what I was expecting. I was very pleasantly surprised with it. And then Danielson's music started playing, and I was just completely taken aback.
I think it's great. Like the idea that the storyline between the two of them, even thinking about working together, is so fun. I absolutely love it. But when you talk about Anarchy in the arena, it's very important that you do talk about the idea that Bryan and Eddie are such a pivotal story in Anarchy in the arena.
They had moments that defined that. I mean, that was
when you see that GTA moment of Eddie Kingston and he's got the gasoline, like the gas can coming out. Brian's there. He's coming out to Bryan, So and Bryan says, it almost cost me my career, that match.
Right.
So it is really important. I think it's going to be the match of the night. It's going to be one of the best ones that everybody's going to remember. And I think it's funny. I say this every time. When the Young Bucks have a match, people are like, this match is going to suck. And every time,
I don't understand why people regardless of whether you like the gimmick or you like the Young Bucks or you hate the Young Bucks, you can't tell me that these two don't go out and perform like anybody else, if not better,
as a tag
team.
They know what they're doing.
Yes, a lot of it looks choreographed. Yes, they all jump at the same time. Yes, they flip over the floppity fucking ropes and do the thing, and everybody and pander to the crowd. Yes, that is exactly what it is. It does not look like a UFC fight. It does not look like 4 individuals, 6 individuals fighting in a fucking ring in a professional.
It's choreographed
it's sports entertainment.
It's choreographed because they want it to be choreographed because they want it to look perfect.
Do you really think they'd still have their positions if they fucking hit Tony Khan with a fucking Dave Meltzer driver? Come the fuck on. Are we really what kind of 2024 and we're still acting like we don't know what this all is? Come the fuck on. I've seen good God.
Well, that's it. Mark, quit the podcast.
No, I'm starting my own angry fucking energy drink podcast. Man. I'm going to drink a whole ass case of Red Bull and just go on a tirade on a Sunday morning.
God, please don't. One thing that I thought was really cool too, I think it happened on Rampage. Lexi Nair interviewed Claudio Castagnoli because he had walked out on Bryan Danielson in a match on Collision that they had against Top Flight, and he actually said
he didn't walk out. He walked
out of the ring. I'm sorry, after the match was over, he walked out of the ring when Bryan was talking, and he said that he was actually pretty disappointed that Bryan would be working with Eddie because Eddie is definitely Claudio's biggest rivalry of all time. That's
it spans over 20 years.
My favorite rivalries between the two of them. So now Claudio's getting frustrated with not only Mox but Bryan for being on Eddie's side. So
and of course,
now
Mox is notoriously really good friends with Eddie.
Right.
Even if they have their differences in professional wrestling.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good storyline happening with the Young Bucks and BCC. But again, like I was saying before, there's a lot of really good matches that set up from this. Mm-hmm. One being Okada versus Dax is happening.
Right.
On Dynamite, which is crazy that Okada can just be like, yep, defending the belt and just walk off.
Which we had to rewind it twice because Okada said it so quickly. Twice we had to rewind it because I was like, I don't know what he said.
I know.
We thought he Alex. We thought he said Alex, and then we thought he said Jack. And we're like, but he's standing. Jack Perry's standing right there. Why would you challenge him? And then we realized it was Dax. So Okada needs to work on that delivery. He's just not that it's bad. He's just so intense with it, so quick, and it's instantly fades to the. And you're like, oh. That was it? Like, what? I missed it. I was looking the other way.
I'm excited. I don't know who he's facing.
He just came back from a commercial, and he yells.
But Okada will be defending his belt against Dax Harwood. We've got Swerve Strickland against Brian Cage. We talked about that. That's going to be absolutely exciting. Black Bull Combat Club will be teaming up on Wednesday as well, even though they're a little bit frustrated with each other. We'll see how that match works out.
Don Callis with the frustration between them. Here.
Don Callis saying that, I don't have Powerhouse Hobbs to help out this week. I got Kyle Fletcher. Let me find one of Kyle Fletcher's friends. What he
did was he looked at the outline of Powerhouse Hobbs and he said, okay, let me look at a figure about the same size, and then looked over and went, Jeff Cobb looks like a bull, so he'll do perfect.
I'm really excited about
some
that.
United Empire action up in AEW this week.
Yes, Tony Storm will be having a grudge match against Harley Cameron.
Okay. I'm not one to objectify women.
Okay.
But I need to point this out for anybody, male, woman, male, female, anybody who can just appreciate an attractive individual.
Okay.
Gotta shout out Harley Cameron and Mariah May this past week having a thirst off.
Being thoughties
just
on
the most
on
ridiculous. I love it because I know that's why everybody's hating on Harley Cameron. It was why I hated on her at first. And
why? Because she's gorgeous.
I just love the better than you.
Yeah.
And she's got the looks to prove it.
Right.
I love it now. I hated it, but now I love it
gimmick.
Because I hated it.
Yeah.
They had a thirst off where they were just like, who can take the thirstiest picture this week? And again, I'm not trying to objectify.
Right.
But goddamn, can you not appreciate an attractive individual?
Oh, it was a sight to see, and let me just say, we all won.
We all won. We really did. We really did.
But Tony Storm is not happy with Harley Cameron, so good for Harley for getting 2 matches in 2 weeks when I don't think she's ever wrestled the match on AEW TV.
Right.
And the surprise really from out of nowhere was that the Young Bucks were trying, Matt more than anybody was really trying to talk crap to the all-time, probably the best wrestler ever, Christopher Daniels. Now, Christopher Daniels instantly was like, yo, I'm not taking this shit.
It was such a good segment.
It was so good. He's like, I'm not taking this from you. I didn't get this job. You didn't hand this job to me. I earned it.
I like the quote of, I have been friends with you since it was the most difficult job in professional wrestling.
That was good. That
one hit.
Yeah.
But he's been the only one that barked back, so I'm sure we're going to see some blast back from the Young Bucks.
I'm sure he'll get suspended.
He had a response to the Young Bucks basically saying, we're going to fight you and a partner of your choosing. He's choosing Matt Seidel, who's
great choice.
Always partnered up with him. I was kind of hoping we'd see maybe a return from Kazarian for one night, but I think that's done and over with.
Yeah, it seems a little bit bitter towards AEW, but that's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, we're going to see Young Bucks will be taking on Matt Seidel and Christopher Daniels this week. Lots of wrestling. Always, I said it earlier in the podcast, it's a hell of a time to be a wrestling fan. If you're doing this tribalism between WWE and AEW, NJPW, Impact, GCW, every other initial that's ever happened,
it's so much fun, man.
You're really taking the fun out of something that you could really enjoy. You don't have to like everything. You don't have to like Mariah May. You don't have to like Adam Copeland. You don't have to like The Rock. You don't have to like Cody Rhodes. You don't have to like LA Knight. You don't have to like Bray Wyatt. You don't have to like any of it. You can watch what you want. You don't have to like any of it, or you can like all of it, or you can. It's completely up to you.
Yeah, just like we do. We love all of it here.
Leave everybody the fuck
Wrestling.
alone when they like shit you don't like. It fucking blows my mind. I hate saying it. Hey, I hate being that preachy asshole on a podcast.
The remote has a power button.
Dude, turn off Twitter.
Shut it off, man.
Get off of Twitter. I got on somebody's every once in a while. I'll creep on somebody's profile. I'm getting off my soapbox in here about 30 seconds. I got on somebody's profile because they just said something rude, and it was just like
Which
everything. Everything they said for months was just backhanded, terrible, just awful. It was like looking for a fight on every aspect. There wasn't a positive thing on that individual's Twitter, and it was just like, wow, you have the time to just be negative, and it just blows my mind.
It's unfortunate. If only you could take the time to find something positive, because there's so many positive things, even beyond wrestling, that we could use Twitter as a platform to be able to do. We have met so many cool people and so many awesome fans on X, like really, and had so many great conversations. We've met people that have other podcasts.
It's been The Ring,
awesome
with Mike.
It's been so cool to meet so many cool people. Wrestling and Coffee, like there's just so many cool people. Like I'm very thankful for that. Let's just take the time to say I'm thankful for all of you. I appreciate you sticking with us, even though we haven't been on here for the last month.
It's been
I promise you we're back.
It's been a hell of a month between college degrees, broken teeth.
Oh, our son snapped his front teeth. It was awful.
Ridiculous.
It was awful.
But it's life. But we're back.
We're feeling good.
Every Monday. I almost said Sunday because it is Sunday, but every Monday we'll be posting again.
4 a.m. We'll be there before you are.
We'll get to that spiel at the end here in a second.
Let's get to that. If you haven't followed us already on X, we are at CAW Wrestling Pod. If you haven't followed me already, don't know why you haven't, because I'm a whirlwind on X. I'm at a bacon party.
You can find me on X at Gunk Dudley. Start your week off right every Monday morning at 4 a.m. with a fresh episode of Coffee and Wrestling, a wrestling podcast. It's up and ready before you are. Thank you so much for joining us. I promise it's not going to be another 4 weeks to our next episode.
Thank you so much, guys.
See you in the next episode. Remember where the trigger is?
Yep.
You do the thing?
Yep. Just roll with what I got, okay?
Oh.
You good?